Hello.
Hello?
Hello. What's up, bro?
Hey, it's the What's Up Bro podcast. We talk movies, sports, TV shows, pop culture, and it's funny, mother. With Nery Saenz. I'm like, what? How can this... They have Photoshop. Photoshop exists when this artist rendition was done. How the fuck is this not cooler looking than a sketch that looks like it was done by a hillbilly off the side of the road? What the fuck are we talking? Why is this a thing?
Welcome to the party, pal.
Steph, anie Meyer-Senior.
Yeah, I don't have to look for you.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah!
And Mike Mercadal.
I'm just glad I like vanilla, boring sex like this. I'm glad that the sex I enjoy won't get me killed.
That's how winning is done.
Hey, I'm Dave Chappelle, and this is What's Up, Bro.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the What's Up Bro podcast. Thanks to Dave Chappelle for jumping in on doing that live every week. It's pretty exciting. You know, he comes in every week. He's like so chill. It's so
He's
nice.
a good guy.
Good guy. Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Mercadal. With me, as always, is
Nery Saenz.
and of course we have Steph, Meyer-Senior. Thank you for joining us live. If you're in the comments, if you're in the start posting away. We love interactivity. Your comments will be read live on air. You could be a part of the show. If you feel like you're missing out because you're in the future listening to this on some other platform that isn't live, join us live. Follow us on at WUBro Pod on all social media platforms and on all our social medias, and you will get an announcement when we go live, just like we're doing right now. Guys, we're live. We're live
On the Facebooks, on the YouTubes, on the Instagrams.
And we're on the Instagram.
So yeah.
Eventually, I'll learn how to actually do it on TikTok. At the minute, I literally have just my face on live in the corner.
You have to have a certain number of TikTok followers to be given live privileges. Is that how it works? Is that how it is?
I don't think I'm at that number yet.
I don't know how TikTok works. I just know how Instagram works.
I know.
Yeah. I like my
works.
pobrecito viejito.
I care less. I couldn't care less.
I know.
I could not care less. I literally had this conversation with Missy the other day where we were talking about my friends who are hating on Taylor Swift. And they're like, nobody knows. Like, she doesn't have music that anybody knows. And I'm like, you don't know because she doesn't make music for you. Because you're a 40-year-old married man. That's not like the music that she makes.
Anyone else under that age bracket definitely knows who Taylor Swift is.
No, it's not about knowing who she is, because he knows who she is, but he doesn't recognize any of her music. And he's like, she put out 3 albums. She put out 3 albums 2 years ago. That he has the story goes that there's a employee in his office, and the office is very small, like 10 employees.
No, the man still
and
has to be under
she's a huge fan of Taylor Swift. And and then he's like, play me like the most popular song of Taylor Swift right now. And then she did. And he goes, I have no idea. I've never heard that song. And then he calls over like the rest of the office was like 8 other people, all older than him. And they're like, I've never heard that song. And I was like, dude, I'm sure I've never heard that song either. However, I'm still not saying that just because I haven't heard it doesn't mean that it's not popular. Like, that's
100%. Your awareness of something has nothing to do with its popularity. You're just a focus group of one. Your awareness of it is only your awareness of it. But like, it would be silly to be like, this lady is selling out multi-million-dollar concerts all over the world, and to be like, she must not be doing well. It's like,
people are literally getting together in groups and creating like entire office suites full of computers just to get in on her tickets. But no, she's not.
Are you a Swiftie, Steph? Do you identify
honestly, I don't know if I would call myself a Swiftie. I definitely appreciate her, and there's a lot of her stuff that I jam out to. I do not know enough, or the call-in responses to like be like, yes, I am.
You're not. You.
So,
I respect
the
game.
No. The answer is no. You're not a Swiftie. The answer is
I respect the game.
No, I would think that the answer is yes with an asterisk.
No, you're not.
No,
if you were a Swiftie, you would be. Yeah, Swifties
Oh, no,
are
no, yes. I like
downloading the
Taylor Swift.
album the moment it comes out. Like you're not that person. You're not that
Swifties are the ones that have parasocial relationships with her and Travis Kelce online, and like do like full deep like there's some like legitimately mentally unwell people who are posting as if they are in a friend group with Taylor Swift
but that's not the
Kelce.
only. But those are not only that. That's not what I would classify as a Swiftie is. Hey, I downloaded her album the minute it came out. Like I stayed up to like that's. You don't have to be like super crazy in the range. You could just be like, I downloaded her album. I memorized all her songs because I listened to all her songs. That's a Swiftie. Right,
No.
that's a and then you have that other spectrum.
That's
you have that
fan.
other spectrum. Yeah, you have that other spectrum of
Yeah.
Swiftie, which is like she's taking a flight from Kansas City to like.
That's
Whoa,
terrifying, though.
Is she gonna make it to the Super
Yeah.
Bowl to watch her boyfriend play football on time? And
Uh,
here's what I think. So there are people. Do you think that Taylor Swift is popular because she's good now, or because there's a whole lot of like mid-white teens that grew up with her music, and now that she has like this resurgence, it's like recapturing this
I don't
kind
know
of
if I'll call it a
nostalgia?
resurgence.
I don't
Huh?
know enough about her. I don't know enough about her music to comment on her music. I know like Missy,
Yeah.
friend of the show, is a huge
Mhm.
Swiftie, not deranged level Swiftie, but she's a huge Swiftie, and
Okay.
she makes fun of the deranged level Swiftie. That's how I know she's not there because she's making
Sure.
fun of those people, right? But she will die in the hill of like
It's
her
good.
her writing is genius. She's a genius. She's like writes like she's a masterful writer, songwriter, and all that. But I don't know
She's
enough.
clever. She's a very clever writer.
I don't know enough about her music to answer that question. Like that's the same question that Eminem gets. Like, oh, is Eminem popular because he's really good, or is he popular because he's a white guy in a black industry? And
Right,
that's the
right.
question. Now that I have more of an opinion on that because I feel he's legitimately really good, whether or not whatever color he may have gotten in the door because he was white, but he has stayed there for over 25 years because he's really fucking good. Like that's again, I
Has
just
he
downloaded his.
stayed there? I don't know if he's actually stayed anywhere. He's
Oh,
kind of
okay.
He's
Well,
on
okay.
the respected.
Wait. He just dropped a new album last week, and that
Yeah.
new album has more sales in that week than the next 15 rap albums below him combined.
See, now this is where things are interesting on how like the echo chambers that you live in are kind of like how things are painted, because like your friends and stuff like that would be very, very into it right now. As someone who's like chronically online at the minute,
No, my friends
So
are
it's
into
like-
Chayanne. My friends are into Chayanne. So my
Your
friends don't.
friends are into
Yeah.
Chayanne.
Yeah, my
Okay.
friends are into like Chayanne and Luis Enrique and Luis Miguel. Like that's what they're into. They're not like that's
I
not
don't
my
fault them.
friends.
I don't
Yeah.
fault them if they want to jam out to Luis Enrique. Go for it, man.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Hey,
Some
look,
Bad Bunny, good. No, but
Porcupine-
honestly, it's like
Porcupine Jason in the comments. Glad to see you guys again. Welcome back, Porcupine
Hey,
Jason.
Jason.
Hello. Missy
Hi.
representing herself
Jeez.
in the comments, representing all Swifties.
Yes.
I believe she's talking about
I miss-
Eminem's album. I
Missy,
believe
I
she's talking
miss
about
you.
Eminem's album. There you go.
Oh,
You
she's
know, weirdly enough, I haven't really heard super great things, but
Yeah,
I
because
haven't heard it.
you're very, very liberal and you live in this like cancel culture world. And that's
Oh,
the
What does
album.
that have to do with music?
no, okay.
Because
that
the
is
album, hold on, because
Yeah.
the album is purposefully taking it to the other level where he's literally his marketing programming is cancel Slim Shady. The name of the album is The Death of Slim Shady. Slim Shady being his alter ego, being very politically incorrect. And he went back to that first album of politically incorrectness, of like talking shit, of saying the R word, of saying like all these all crazy things. And the whole point of the album is that people have taken political correctness to the next level where it doesn't need to go. Like that's the
it's
whole
like
point
his
of the album.
commentary of
His-
the
it's
whole
his
Slim
commentary
Shady
on that.
character.
And
yeah.
that look that you have on your face right now, Steph, is the reason why you would not have liked this album. So I don't expect you to have listened to this album.
Yeah, I'm
it's
not
also-
really into shock for shock sake.
And he literally talks about that in the album about how it's shock for shock value and that he's
Yeah.
not into it. He Marshall Mathers is no longer into it. He does a song where he's literally rapping as Marshall Mathers against Slim Shady. And Marshall
That part
Mathers,
I would appreciate. So that part I would probably appreciate.
but that's the
more.
whole album. The whole album is like Marshall Mathers saying like, "Why are you doing this? I don't want to do this." And then Slim Shady saying like, "Stop being a pussy," and then going back and forth. Like that's the whole album, is that clash of commentary on society and political correctness and cancel culture. Like it's the whole thing, dude. It's
here's the thing. It's
I've
also,
always enjoyed Marshall more than I do Slim.
Here's the thing. The whole point of the it's also the reason why it's also happening a lot more online, that he's coming up and the commentary's coming up, is that people are discovering the original Slim Shady albums like for the first time. And
there are 22-year-olds. There are 22-year-olds who didn't know about Eminem, and they're now listening to Stan. Have you seen those videos?
No, they're listening to Kim. They Kim and all the ones where he talks about like all of these crazy.
There's all these videos.
Ones.
There's all these videos of like
reacting to it.
of like Gen Z reacting for the first, listening to the Dido song for the first time, to Stan for the first time.
Yeah,
and like they're crying and they're like, "Oh my god, I had this guy wrong the whole time." Like they're literally saying this onto a camera. Which is hilarious. It's just
Missy says Eminem's album made me laugh so hard my VIP ticket to hell is secured. It's at Porcupine Just Eminem with a heart. That's what he would like. The thing is, do you consider, so like it's like many layers, right? There's a lot of levels happening here. Whenever somebody gets old enough to reference themselves in new art to people who don't know who they are, like I'm sure there's a bunch of Taylor Swift fans to connect the two, that Taylor Swift fans introducing Taylor Swift to their kids, right? Sure. Because enough time has reasonably passed for those girls that listened to Taylor Swift in high school to have their own kids who are becoming teens and tweens. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
Right? Because she's
you gotta
30
do lore.
something
You gotta
now.
do lore drops to make sure some of this stuff makes sense. It's kind of like how recently I had to like go into a whole diatribe for my partner just understand Kendrick and Drake and shit.
Right. So like the same thing is happening in a different way for Eminem, where it's like there's a whole bunch of people who think they know what like controversial hip hop is, and then they play Eminem, and then everybody's like, wait a minute, this is not, there's a lot of assumptions about this guy because he's the greatest, he's all these guys, like one of the best lyricists of all time, and the old heads who are like, he's GOAT no matter what, and they're like, I don't know, like, and then now they're realizing, they're like, oh shit, this is something other than what I imagined it to be, and that's like a hard thing,
That's what I'm saying, and that's why
Eminem
when your question,
is a cultural icon, knowing about him is important to consider yourself cultured. Valid statement. There's a concept in mass media called the high culture and low culture, where like high culture would be something that is like elite, but it's gate kept. Something like opera or classical music. It's like usually behind.
Highfalutin.
Yes,
we call that fancy schmancy. Is the technical term.
The fun,
fancy schmancy.
Yeah, it's full of arts and farts. The Shakespeare used to be thought of as this lofty high culture thing that only educated people knew about. But when Shakespeare came out,
that's what I was going to say, because Shakespeare when he came out wasn't.
It's literally arts and farts. There's literally dick jokes. There's orgasm jokes. There's jokes about shit. There's jokes about coming. There's jokes about all kinds of stuff. There, but because it's in this fancy language that no one really uses anymore, people associate it with like high culture. But meanwhile, it's literally straight up, dick and fart jokes for the common man. I
saw a whole TikTok video. Well, it was on Instagram, but it was 2 weeks after it came out on TikTok. So I saw this reel.
That's it's speeding up. The loop is speeding.
It's a really
I saw this reel on Instagram about how people are breaking down Romeo and Juliet, and how Romeo is actually a fuckboy, and there's actual proof in the writing. It's not just their opinion. It's like proof in the writing. He was in the beginning of the play, he was madly in love with Madeline or whatever the fuck her name was,
Rosalind,
and like Rosalind, and so he was all this shit there. So they're literally, and then there were times that in later years, there were times that people took the whole Rosalind part out of the play completely. Like even in the party where he meets Juliet, he was trying to fucking get to Rosalind. Yeah, because or whatever, and then he literally
just got distracted by the next pretty thing. That's
and then his boys were even like, you do this all the time. You always like just fucking just whatever. And he was
Mercutio
like 12.
is Mercutio. Yeah, he's like
I think he was like 16. He's like 16 and Juliet's like 13 or something.
Yeah, something like that.
So he's total.
Like
he's a total.
Babies.
But even
He's
in the
ruled
but
by
even in,
hormones.
but even in that time, like they're like again, I'm not doing it any justice because I don't know the play by memory, but even the Rio breaks it down and gives like specific verses where like even in that time, his boys were like, she's very young. It wasn't like,
Yeah.
oh, that's just the way it was back then. Like even for that time, his boys were like, you're a
Like,
fuck
how
boy.
many moons have passed?
Yeah.
How many
Yes.
seasons?
Hey
My man.
Drake, hey Drake,
Hey,
you
Drake.
want to ease up a little bit? She's
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
minor.
A minor. Well, I think
Lives in
that
my head.
we've accomplished a goal by connecting Taylor Swift, Eminem, and Romeo and Juliet in a Shakespeare in a
You know what?
Shakespeare
Yeah, I'm happy
triangle.
with that.
Yeah.
Either way, 'cause
You're welcome, society. You're
people
welcome.
think of Shakespeare as Taylor Swift, but Shakespeare was more Eminem, really, right? Like, I think we're there.
Down in the dirty mud. Yeah, I get it. I'm in.
Down in the dirty mud.
Shout
y'all
out to Advanced Diesel in the Instagram. He says that he saw me performing on a cruise. I don't know if I should give him a shout out because I just noticed that he just said he saw me. He didn't say anything positive or negative. He just said he saw me.
That is
So,
a non-judgment. It is
That is
I
non-
recognize your existence. Was it good or bad? Remains
we don't
to be
know.
seen.
No,
We don't
no
know.
committal. That was a non-commitment comment.
Non-committal answer.
But you know what? I appreciate you for seeing me.
Yeah,
Thank you for like checking this out. Yeah.
I feel seen.
Yes.
I feel seen. Steph, do you want to tell us what the fuck the man with 1,000 kids is? Because you were
Oh my
you were like,
god!
okay, and you're
I
in
needed
Australia,
you guys
so
to see it.
I
did
have not
see it.
seen it.
I did see
I
it.
need you
I
to
saw
tell
it.
me what it's all about.
I fought my instinct and I was like, I'll see it. Cause I've seen the advert on Instagram for a couple weeks now. And I'm just like, the easy joke is immediately I was like, so they're making documentaries about regular Latino people now. Like that's what's going on now. But then I didn't want to watch it because I was like, fuck another, like these documentaries don't make me feel good. They're not.
Sure. Yeah,
They make me feel icky.
very uncomfortable.
It's usually about dudes who are super creepy, right? This one, the Ashley Madison one, the other one, the Tinder swindler. It doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
Again, they're very much men who are, and again, I'm not saying that every man is like this, and these documentaries are not saying, they're very specific about which men they're talking about, right? They're not saying
No,
men
it's
in
100% the
general.
documentary that as you're watching, you're like, yes, the bear. Yes.
Yes,
Right.
yes, the bear. And I'm watching this, so I knew even before watching this, I was like, this is not gonna make me feel good about being a guy. I just know it's not. And sure enough, it did not. It was very much. Did not make me
Can we
feel
watch the trailer? I just saw. Can we? This is the latest that's coming out now. Because also with these shows is there's not a lot of resolution. It just kind of gives you this story that there's no real way to like resolve it, right? There's just 1,000 kids who have him as a donor, a sperm donor. That's because that's what he was.
Well, Stephanie will explain. I cut her off. I apologize, Stephanie, for cutting you off and talking about it. But I just wanted to say that.
Can I?
Okay. So the log line that Mike had started off with is correct. The documentary itself follows this man from the Netherlands who originally promoted himself to these women who were in search of a donor as this very altruistic person who maybe had gone and maybe donated to like 3 families, or he wanted to tap out like at 5 families when he first initially.
Now I know what altruistic means, but for the listener, just because I don't want the listener to feel like they're not in. For the listener, altruistic, like what is that? What's the different? What would you say?
He wanted to do good things,
right?
So good
right.
reasons. So
for good reasons.
Unselfish, just
unselfish, for the good, from the good of his heart. Wanted to give.
To help, and he wasn't charging money.
Having a family.
He wasn't.
That was my
money.
question.
No. So he wasn't charging money.
Okay.
There later on they explain other reasons why this could work out for him. He wasn't charging money. They thought maybe he was a little bit odd. But they were very smitten with like his looks, which I'm a little bit about.
He's a handsome guy. He's not unhandsome.
I will say his younger self, like maybe 10 years ago, because they show pictures of like 10 years ago when this whole thing started.
Sure.
He looked better. He got a little chunky. You could tell throughout his travels, he was going to different countries.
I don't know.
And
sometimes like
eating a little bit too much.
Adjusted thing.
Yeah.
But it's all just like these people who go through with this and the different manners in which they go through with it, whether via donation or natural, how it ends up coming out that 5 was a very conservative number of people he actually went to.
Yeah.
Turns out he actually went to capped out at multiple countries and would go around the world. And there's definitely there's a hint of white supremacy in there that they do not delve into enough.
At the end, but that was
At the very end, they're like,
but that wasn't about him though.
Racism.
But that wasn't about him though. That was about somebody else in that chat. So that's why they didn't delve into it.
So,
I mean,
I'm probably not going to watch it. So I'm curious as to what the guy's motivation is. That
you should.
I should.
It's just 3 episodes.
Is it revealed? Okay, that's fine. I'll commit to that.
So his motivation is all speculative.
I want to call out this. This is funny. Missy, the documentary category is the ick.
1,000%. Like she is like on the money with that. That is the very much. And I'm looking at it as a man. I'm like, ugh. I don't know.
Even just with things he says, you're like,
so
ick.
the
red
reasoning
flags are there.
Yeah, the reasoning is all speculative because they don't interview him because he declined he refused to be in the documentary. So the reason that's given is all from the women's perspectives, the women that he's fathered these children with. And again, I'm not saying that they're wrong.
Unfortunately, they do have they have references of chats they've had with him and stuff.
Yeah.
And the very many YouTube videos he has out because he's obsessed with vlogging everywhere he is. It
sounds like he has very much a creator complex where he's like, I want to create, I want to create and teach, and his whole thing is like my way is the best way, and my teachings are he says at one point in his videos, in his YouTube vlogs, he says that I don't believe in science. He literally says I don't believe in science, and then he says that science is just a trick or whatever. And I just laughed out loud because he's saying that into a camera that is transmitting online.
As he donates.
As he's transmitting, he's literally transmitting online on the World Wide Web. And I'm like, what? But you can't think science is not true. You can't.
Is he in trouble in any way? Is there some sort of problem with what he did? Is there anything illegal?
Well,
there's many layers to it. The
let's
problem
not spoil it. Let's not spoil the end. Let's not spoil the end. I won't
go too into it, but the main thing they even hint at, even when they're promoting the promo of
at the end, it comes out with an eye patch, and he's like, "I'd like to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative." And he's just trying to build a real big superhero team, is what he's talking about.
Well, oh my God. In his mind,
he kind of said that at trial. He kind of said. They were like, what do you? They were like, what do you like? The accusation. So the problem was that the defense was saying, the prosecution was saying, hey, you're creating all these hundreds of babies all around the world that you're increasing the high risk of incest babies, and there's a lot of medical problems that they could have, and not even getting into the psychological issue of you think you're falling in love with somebody. It turns out that you're just into somebody who's very similar to you because you share genetic material.
Yeah, because apparently there's a thing called the Luke and Leia complex. And
that's what I was gonna say. They call that the Luke and Leia complex, where it's like brother and sister that will not raise together. There's an actual complex where a brother and sister that will not raise together think that they like each other because they share a lot of similarities. They share a lot of similarities, including they look like each other, and this person is like they sense
a similarity in each other, and they don't necessarily understand why, but they just also
they think
this really tight connection with this
person. They think it's love.
Use it for love,
right.
And that's the prosecution. That's the prosecution of these people could.
I agree. Gross.
This prosecution is saying
eventually brother and sister will marry without the knowledge of their history.
That is,
because there's one woman in the documentary who found out that multiple people in her group used the guy by accident.
So there was one. So before I even get to that, his defense for how he could avoid that is social media. Is he says, I quote, my children in their social media profile picture, they could have a logo that signifies that they are one of my children.
A logo. Is that
he said that to a judge, bro? He said that to a judge.
Wow.
That was his grand solution.
He wants that branding.
I was like,
Yeah.
what is
Whoa.
happening?
It's
So yeah, so
culty. It's
what
so
Steph
culty.
what Steph was saying was that the way the people that we find that started the documentary with us, as far as us the viewer, the first people that they interviewed, one of the women started finding this out that there were others because she was a daycare teacher, and when she had her baby, another teacher in that same school goes, "Oh, you had a donor baby, so did I. Who was your donor?" And he's like, "Oh, my donor was Jonathan." And they're like, "That was my donor." And he's like, "Oh my God." And at first I was like, "That's adorable. I guess they have a half sibling in the school." And then they found out that a third student in the school was also their brother. And then they were like, huh. And then, so that's how the information slowly started getting to this.
Disseminated.
Yeah.
And then, I don't want to spoil too much, but you know what? I do want people to watch,
Did
and
you
I
say
want Mike to
disseminated,
know
or
some
did
of
you
the
say
twists.
inseminated?
Yeah, I actually did say that.
Gross.
But like,
Gross,
no.
gross, gross.
So one of the things that they end up finding out is that there is a reason why so many of them ended up with the same donor. At least in the Netherlands, it turns out like the actual website that was promoted on there in order to introduce the profiles of these private donors and stuff like that was a scam the entire time.
So he
like,
was behind the website. Okay.
him and another person.
Him and
were
another
behind
creepy looking dude.
So this guy, I wrote a sketch many years ago called Mitch.com, back when Match.com was a big thing. And it was just like one guy who created all the profiles. And he was just like, you tell me who you want me to be, and I'll be that person. Right? Like everything was just him.
It's exactly.
It has since come out multiple times that somebody has tried to do that. Like in real life, try to be literally on Parks and Recreation.
I was gonna say in Parks and Rec there was Tom Haverford. Haverford made all these dating profiles, and it was Tom XYZ or something.
Yeah, I felt like I was predicting the future because I called it Mitch.com because it was this guy Mitch who was just like the only guy there, and it's literally happened so many times that these dudes are just like, I want to accomplish a goal, so I'll just build a website and program this thing, like some crazy shit to like just. So is that illegal? Is him running that website illegal?
So what happens is it's not the running of the website is illegal. So what happens is there were no laws before this documentary took place. Okay. There were zero laws to prohibit, because everything based upon even when you go to a sperm bank, which this guy also did, 11 of them that they know of. Even when you go to a sperm bank, he signs a paper that says
not tired.
So
how
what happens?
Do you crank this many loads out? This is a lot of work.
Well, I work on a cruise ship.
There's also
challenge accepted.
1,000 kids.
There's
light
also
work,
another
baby.
reason.
Light work.
There's another reason why he had so many opportunities too.
So
and it
wait. So let me get to this point. Hold on. I'll get to that. So you'll get to that. So he had this thing where the law, there was no actual law. It was just an agreement between the sperm bank and the guy saying you will not go to any other sperm bank and you would only come here up to 25 times. Like, you know what I mean? And so it's just an agreement, but it's not a legal binding agreement. It's not legally binding. It's just a, hey, promise me you're not going somewhere else too. And he's like, I'm not going anywhere else. And they're okay. And apparently the amount of money that he made during each transaction was not a lot of money. That they made it clear. Like even the moms were saying, you cannot make a living off of this.
He was in it for the love of the game. He was in it for, he was.
He
had it in his heart.
His passion project.
Yeah, he's all heart.
Yeah.
Some guys, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. Clearly,
well, he was hard at work, not working.
He was hard at work and both working hard. You gotta one.
Some of the people was working.
Preclude the other. This all sounds mad gross and
disgusting.
The curiosity
is Stephanie. What were you gonna say before I started saying that? I'm sorry. She was gonna.
Oh God, no, yeah, it was the sperm roulette. Is the big thing.
Yeah. So there was another guy. There was another guy involved.
You need to watch.
His friend is involved, and what happened is that they found out that there were times where the two of them would put their sperm in the same cup and mix it up, and it was a competition amongst them two to see which one of their sperm would win.
Would make it.
Oh
Yeah,
my
would make it.
god,
It
that
was-
is brutal. That is Game of Thrones-ish. That is like
yeah.
it sounds like something a fucking powerful lord would do to his servants or his
I think that's
slaves.
what Edward Longshanks did
Prima Nocta?
with that Prima Nocta.
My god. There, because there is so it is an interesting kind of thing of like when people are desperate for a family or they want sperm in some way, like there's no shortage of it. Like you could just ask somebody for it and they'll give it to you. There's literally the story. Oh, like this reminded, like when you were telling me that, I thought this was about, there's literally another Netflix documentary about a fertility doctor who, when people were giving their sperm samples that he was going to do in vitro, he would replace it with his own.
That's what we would worry about all the time.
It's funny that you should mention that.
Because that's your dad.
That's I want to introduce you to my kid. No, it's funny you should mention that
My
because
sibling.
one of those doctors that happened with got sued and got taken to court by now an activist, and the daughter, one of the offspring is Evie something, whatever. She's the activist in America, and all of this was happening. It happened in multiple countries, including the United States. But the ones who were bringing it to everybody's attention, the ones who were dying for something, for somebody to help them, was in the Netherlands and Denmark, and then in Australia. That's the couples that we, as the documentary viewers, get to see. And the Australian couple reached out to Evie, whatever her name was, because she's an activist that deals in paternity fraud, or what's it called? Something fraud, whatever. And one of my favorite moments of the whole series is that
paternity fraud or something like that.
Something like that. Something with, I thought it was an F, right? Like not fraternity fraud. That's what it is. It's fraternity fraud.
Fraternity?
Fertility fraud.
Fertility.
Okay. Yeah, that's what it is. All right. So one of my favorite moments is when the Australian couple reaches out to the American activist lady, and she's like, well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take it to the New York Times. And then she was like, well, because and in Denmark and in the Netherlands, they've done newspaper articles, newspaper stories, but they never mention the name because in their countries they're not allowed to mention names. And this lady, Evie, whatever her name is, the activist, is like, well, in America, this is how we do shit, and we're gonna fuck this motherfucker up, like in America. And I love the phrase where she's like, this is how we roll, and then this is an Australian couple saying this, is like, and she told us that in America, this is how they do shit in America, and I'm like, you got that right, this is how we do shit. I was just like, let's go. Let's go.
Name and shame, baby. Name and shame.
Yeah. Name and shame. The irony, of course, is that I'm reading in this interview that he gave out. He says that at no point did he do any of these donations anonymously. And for him, he's just saying, he's like, hey, I told these people who I was, and I just volunteered it.
Yeah.
And so even though he was not anonymous in the donation, you could not then just be like, hey, don't accept sperm from such and such.
Right. But they were saying, so they made a Facebook group, like, children of whatever his name is, right? And they made a Facebook group, and that's how people would find out, right? People would do image search because he would post his picture, and people loved his hair, right? Which I got to be honest with you, as a bald man, I was like, I get it.
I get it. He's a blonde guy too. Also, that's got to be important.
I get that. Steph is not impressed at all with his physical attributes, and I'm just like, you know what, Steph, because your husband has great hair too, so maybe, right, put yourself in the fucking shoes of somebody who's follically challenged, and then maybe you could understand why we could say, oh, that would be great. In
his younger days, he's not a, like, he's
My
a blonde hair, blue-eyed
right now. At the moment,
don't you dare put that evil on him. If he can hold on to it for any longer than he can, then don't scare him.
I'll help him. But sometimes I'm like, one day you and I have to have the conversation of what's the vibe you want to go for in the future. Like, what do you want to do? Do we want to hold on to this, or we want to go straight Statham? Like, how are we doing this?
Straight Statham. I'm in that.
Mike is holding on to dear life right now.
Mike is in. I'm making it work.
Mike is right now on a boat ride in denial.
I've ended up on like hair growth TikTok.
It's
so
not
I
that
can
bad.
No, it's bad. It's bad. It's bad. I love you. But
leave him alone.
It's still there. It's old.
I'm not saying that it's still there. I'm not saying. Again, I'm super jealous. You had 10 years more than I did, 12 years more than I did. I'm super jealous. I'm not saying, but I'm also saying,
I also have the head. So Oh, we were sharing this.
Oh my god, this is great.
This is another
All right.
aspect of what we were of our concerns. Neri as a bald man, me with some hair holding onto it.
The
Let's
dear
see.
life.
Listen to this
Okay.
stuff.
I see bald.
There,
has a dent. Oh,
these guys have headphone dent indentations that they're so look,
Champ, dude, I have like an in
Oh,
here. This is where my headphones go. I have a fucking headphone indented in my.
you can hear the panic in their voices. They're like, this guy,
oh no.
yeah,
How's the dent doing?
Oh, actually, it's filling in.
it's
How's that
Billy.
dent doing?
I got like these cute bunny ears I can put on my dent whenever I need to hide.
I don't know what the trend was of these guys shaving their heads, but there's some that are pretty brutal.
Ooh.
Yeah. I don't know if this one is exaggerated or not, but it is. There's like some that are pretty brutal, and it is just the edema. Like this, it's just that it's being pressed down. The hair and the skin gets pushed. Yeah, there's somebody making fun of his. Look,
Oh my god, that's so bad. That's so bad.
so
Wow.
who knows?
Well, it's kind of like how if you look at your finger after a while, you start seeing like where your phone falls.
iPhone finger.
Yeah,
the
you know
iPhone
what?
finger.
So somebody sent me that
But that's also
video.
on my ring finger, and it's also on like it's just
Yeah,
like
and it's on
knuckles.
it's my where I hold my pencil. You can
Hey,
see
man.
that right there.
Hey, all
and then
right, whatever. Yeah,
So that's what that. So somebody sent me that video, and I immediately was like, "These people need to get fucking pop sockets." 'Cause that's like, what are you fucking
You know,
doing?
Pop Socket did kind of help. It did
Yeah,
kinda
what are you
help when I
doing?
had
You're
it before.
holding your
made-
phone.
Made it
What
a
kind
little
of
better. It was worse
Yeah.
before.
what kind of caveman shit are you? You don't have a pop socket? Get a life, guys. What's wrong with you guys?
I don't.
But yeah,
as
that
someone who
in-
Do you
does
have
not
an
have a
indent?
pop
Do you
socket-
have an indent?
No, because I only podcast 1 or 2 hours a week. Those motherfuckers are gaming, so they have 14. That one guy in that video said it's because I wear my headphones for 14 hours a day, a fucking day. And I'm like, ooh, boy,
Day.
Ooh, boy.
Ooh.
that's a lot.
Speaking
That's
of,
a lot.
on the dismount to transition from the man with a dozen kids, worth a watch. 3 episodes. I will do my best.
Yes.
And they're short
Uh,
episodes.
Nice quick
They're not-
watch.
They're
yeah,
short
the entire
episodes.
time.
Well, I don't want to say
Yeah,
nice.
The shorter.
It's not, I don't want to say nice. It's a quick watch.
It's a quick watch.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
you're right. It's not maybe
Uh,
not
It's
a
a
nice
quick,
watch, because the
it's a
entire time
quick
you're sitting there
gross
like,
watch. It's a quick gross watch.
A lot of
Very good.
conversation about sperm, I would imagine. But do we want to watch something else?
This one couple that was really, she was explaining, right? And she was like getting like really graphic, and her wife goes, "That's really graphic."
like, this is graphic.
Really graphic. And I was like, you know what made me laugh is the very beginning, within the first 5 minutes of the whole fucking shebang. She was like, yeah, so I started wanting to get a kid, when I was in my previous relationship with my ex-girlfriend. And then the wife, right, the current partner goes, we're not going to talk about her. We're not going to talk about the ex-girlfriend. And then she pounds the table hard as fuck. And I was like,
It's like, we don't talk about her. She's like, you're right. We don't
and I
talk
was
about
like, oh my God, we don't, that is the name that's Voldemort up in this house, bro. We do not
yeah.
talk about this bitch. Like, it's
her.
crazy.
And all it made was me being like, but I want to talk about the ex.
That's
Yeah. Don't
for
want to talk about the ex now.
For sure, I was like, there's gonna be a story that comes out about the ex later on. There's gonna be something, and then she's never brought up again. And as a producer of the fucking, you could have just edited that out. Like, there was no
No,
need.
but they were having a little fun. That
That's
producer was
something.
like,
I got it right. We'll come back to that. We'll come back
Yeah,
to
we're
that.
gonna go ahead and put a pin on this. No
Yeah.
girlfriend talk. Shit, Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
Well,
We'll
so
put
that's
that
a
in the-
recommendation for 2 out of 3 hosts. That's a recommendation, as we say here on
Mhm.
the Empire Movie Podcast.
2 out of 3 bros.
2 out of 3 bros recommended. We have here the trailer for Joker, Folie de Deux, Joker,
Yeah, Joker 2.
Joker's Part 2.
I haven't seen
Uh,
it, by the way.
Man, and they should just called it Part 2, like Hot Shots Part 2.
I think that's what they were going for.
No,
I mean,
Folie
that's
de
why
Dieu. Folie de Dieu is means like God's mistake. If Folie de Dieu or whatever, like Dios, and then this is a play on whatever. I have not seen this yet, so
Neither have I. That's what I'm saying. Neither have I. I haven't
Okay,
seen it.
have you seen it,
Let's
Steph?
go in. We're going. No, we're all
We're
going in blind.
Going in blind.
Stephanie didn't even know about a new Eminem album. She's not gonna see this. They came out today.
Maybe this is. It's got Lady Gaga in it, so maybe this is the one thing that she's got.
I'm
awareness
gonna
of.
watch this. Lady Gaga. I would watch.
Yeah, but you're just gonna watch it when it gets on video.
All right, let's see.
No. This is one of the ones I will watch. I literally have my.
Arthur Fleck hit Gotham like a hurricane.
Okay.
The trial of the century. They believe Arthur Fleck to be some kind of martyr. Well, he's not. There's a monster.
Oh, I can't wait for people laughing like that again.
When I first saw Joker, when I saw you, the whole world smiled with you. For once in my life, I didn't feel so alone anymore.
Okay. Of course, he's dancing.
Of course.
Got to do a high kick.
For once.
He's watching Pepe Le Pew, by the way. Just want to go ahead and put that out there.
Cancel.
How about you, Arthur?
Ooh, I love that guy.
Do you still think you're a star?
Showtime. The whole world smiles with you.
You can do anything you want.
The sun comes.
You're Joker.
Look around. Look at all these people.
Bring on.
I will no longer allow any of you.
So stop your sighing.
Is that Mads Mikkelsen?
Be happy again.
I got the sneaking suspicion that we're not giving the people what they want.
It's okay, baby. Let's give the people what they want.
Boom, boom.
Oof. So
Hallelujah. Come on, get happy. Get ready for the judgment day.
Okay. So just for refresh your memory, is that Get Ready for the Judgment Day? That song, come on, sing all your prayers, come on, get happy, get ready for the judgment. Is that the song from the first one? There was like a song that he would listen to or his mom would listen to or something.
maybe. I don't remember. Now I gotta go back.
It's been so
I
long,
watched that.
I
I
remember.
watched
Yeah,
that
yeah.
movie. I watched the first Joker in theaters like 5 times. I really loved the first Joker. My fear is with this Joker is that there's rumors that it's gonna be a straight up musical.
That's what my understanding is, that it is, that it's not a rumor, that it is straight up musical.
And as somebody who likes musicals, I don't want that. I don't want that. I love musicals. I just don't want, you know what I mean? Look, I believe in fair and separate. Keep your musicals over here. Keep your other movies over here.
I think it could work as a really twisted.
I'm not saying it
musical.
can't work. It's obviously gonna work. I'm just saying, I as a fan don't want it. I don't want that. That's not what I wanted. Part 2 of the fucking movie, the first movie that I loved. Now you're making this one a musical. It's like, what other sequel have they changed complete genres to? And they're like, yeah, this worked. I'm glad. Yeah, you know what happened? Ninja
That
Turtles
would be the very interesting thing.
Ninja Turtles and Ninja Turtles 2
would be.
Ninja Turtles
But the
and
thing
Ninja
is, like,
Turtles 2.
more of the same wouldn't be exciting. Having that little twist on it at least would be very like interesting.
I like that it's
storytelling narratively.
and, like it appears to be his internalized thing of the court proceedings that are following the whole him murdering those people and the riots happening. So
Robert De Niro, he murdered Robert De Niro.
Robert-
Technically,
he
he
murdered
ordered,
So
Yeah.
are we calling it now that people are definitely going to show up to Trump rallies just as Joker?
Oh, for sure.
Leading up to, like,
Absolutely.
I'm calling it.
Yeah. I think the Instagram went down.
I don't know what happened.
I'm
just
not
got
sure
that
what
too.
happened. Yeah. The if you're watching on Instagram, sorry. Or well, you can't see this. So folie à deux is a shared psychosis, a psychiatric syndrome in which symptoms of a delusional belief are transmitted from one individual to another. So the name does make sense.
Yeah.
But I knew it as something else. Whatever it is. But that's not bad. The musical aspect of it is because the Gaga is in it. Lady Gaga is there.
Sure.
So at what point is this like? I don't know. I was not as big a fan of the Joker one as you were, Nery. But the question
I don't think we ever agree on anything on any movie anymore. Like I legitimately, I'm not even saying that to be funny. I'm like I look back at our movie history, and I think past superhero movies, and even now when I look back at it, current superhero movies, we don't agree on anymore.
Well, I guess we're not watching them together anymore. We used to watch all of them together, and maybe the thing is that with the joy we shared with each other, being in each other's company, improved our experiences. And now we have to watch them separately, and I have to deal with you being an idiot without me there to correct you.
Yeah, and also to be fair, we were watching Marvel movies together in their heyday,
in the prime, the peak.
Yeah,
when no one knew it was coming.
We saw Endgame. Did we see Infinity War together?
No, we saw Endgame together, and we saw Iron Man 3. Remember that? Remember when we didn't know what to make of? We didn't know what to make of that. We're like, it was good, but not good. Like, what's happening?
Yeah. Well, sure, but it was definitely that. I do think that that movies now are like, there's too much of your own personality that you can bring to them now.
Mhm.
They used to just be like, this is a good movie, and it was like kind of undeniable. You know, that whole Bill Burr thing. Become undeniable. They were like inarguably good blockbuster movies, not films. They weren't going to be, cultural touchstones of acting performances. They were just great fucking movies, and we would go see them. And then now, like, there's been like a weird kind of, there's either the people who say that they're trying to push inclusion too much, and then the recoil of that, or the rebound effect of that, of like people trying to be too edgy, and then all these things. And it's just like, just make a good fucking story without corporate involvement. That's another big thing. So it's to me, I hope this is entertaining. The Joker wasn't bad. I was just like, I would have much rather seen of course, I'm like, I want to see. This is a version of the Joker. I'm not telling them they should have done anything different. I'm like, I would have preferred a different story. This felt very,
like how,
like I get it. You're trying to make another Mr. Saturday Night. You're trying to make, like a spin-off of something else that it wasn't Joker, and then you made it Joker, and I don't know.
It's kind of its own world, its own story.
And then
I loved it. When there was that hint, when there was a hint that Arthur Fleck may be Bruce Wayne's half brother, I was like, this is amazing. Fucking let's do this. Make this canon. I was just like so fucking for it, man.
If it had been legit down the barrel, this is your brother, and it would have been the fallout of that, I would have been like, that's way cooler. That to me would have been, that was a super.
I think
it
would definitely explain why Batman never wanted to kill him.
Yeah, that 100%, that would make it so interesting. It's literally the point in the documentary where they're like, we're not talking about the ex-girlfriend, and they're like, no, now I want to know more. The second they there's certain times when I'm watching something where I'm like, that's the more interesting story. That's more interesting.
There was a comedian that talked about Dirty Dancing. He's like, so Dirty Dancing starts off with this woman who has to go get an abortion, and she can't be Patrick Swayze's dance partner because she has to go get an abortion from one of the rich guys that was a piece of shit, whatever, blah blah. So she leaves, and then the other girl comes in to be the dance partner, and the whole time I'm watching this movie, I'm like, let's go to that story. I want to follow her.
Yeah,
that's more interesting to me.
Yeah, that's way more interesting, and it's so funny because there are times now where I will watch a movie and be like, that's a good one. Dude, I watched all 3 Karate Kids with my kid the other day. I showed all 3 Karate Kids to my son. And when
did you include the Hilary Swank next Karate Kid?
Notice I said all 3 Karate Kids.
What? You're gonna Kingdom of the Crystal Skull this one? Miyagi's in it. It counts. It's canon.
Doesn't exist in my book. Doesn't exist. So I'm watching a movie, and in that movie, you get a bit of a backstory about Mr. Miyagi, and I immediately thought, man, we need a fucking Miyagi prequel,
Bro.
We need a Miyagi
we've said
prequel.
this on the show before. We've talked about like the ultimate story, the things that we want that nobody is making. It's not even a new IP. Tell the fucking
He was a
Miyagi
war hero.
story.
He was a war hero. He lost his wife during, like, his wife gave birth in a concentration camp while he was serving his country. She was in a concentration camp and lost the baby and died during childbirth in a concentration camp, in one of those Japanese imprisonment camps. And it's like, that's a fucking movie, dude. Put that, like, let's get that prequel going. Brutal.
Give me the Nabi Yoshi Miyagi.
Yes, how he learned martial arts from his father. Like, fucking A, come on, man. Give me that.
And then shows him having a love for it again as an older man. That's beautiful.
That's beautiful.
That's beautiful. It
Yeah,
puts this like
this
this
happens a
lovely
lot.
spin.
Yeah, this happens a lot with like did y'all watch The Acolyte, the new Star Wars thing?
I haven't yet.
It's great. I mean,
I've heard
it's
fantastic things.
I loved it. It's like there's so many people have like opinions about it, but it's just more fun Star Wars, and it's just the only flavor of it that has changed from what all these Star Wars fans are like, oh, it's different, is that it's just told from a female perspective, like a female gaze, as opposed to like it's a female, it's a woman creator, woman writer, so people are like, but it genuinely feels different. There's a lot more to it than that, but it feels like it's doing a TV show thing, right? Like it's trying to be episodic television.
Right.
There's so many shows now that are trying to be movies, and movies that should have been TV shows. Where like if they want to make, like, I would love to have seen.
Well, that's why I'm afraid of like the new Moana that's coming out.
Yeah, there's a lot of
I'm
stuff that.
scared of it.
What are we
Why?
changing?
Oh, Nery.
Why?
So
Why?
because the second Moana that's coming out, the reason it's coming out is because originally it was going to be an actual TV show, and it was completed and done. And when they showed it to the studio, or like, I don't know what heads decided to do this, they were like, oh, never mind. And they decided to repackage it and turn it into a movie.
Okay.
It's the same thing. They just got the TV show and just went boop and turned it into a movie. And I'm sorry, but that's a very different story structure and very different story beats. I don't
It's
know how
hard.
Sure,
narratively that's
but
going to come out. You don't have Lin-Manuel coming back.
Actually, you do.
No.
You do. Yes. Yes.
He's not doing the music. He didn't do the music. Barlow and Bear did the music.
The Rock is literally on Johnny Late Night with Jimmy, saying that we brought everybody back, including Lin-Manuel.
I shouldn't. That's not the live action one. Is that the live action one or the animated?
There's
You're talking
an
about
animated
Moana
sequel.
2. You're talking about
I'm
Moana
talking
2.
about Moana 2, the animated
Okay,
one.
right. I'm talking
Not the
about
live action.
the live action, because he's going to be
yeah.
back for the live action. Right. That's what I'm talking.
Yes,
All right.
that's what I'm saying. So I'm talking about the animated one. I'm confused. Mind you, I do enjoy Barlow and Bear's composers. So curious to see.
Of course,
how that's
as
gonna
we
come
all
out.
as we all do. We know who that is, but just for the viewer, explain to.
I'm
the
not gonna
viewer
pretend I know
that
who
is.
the fuck that is.
No, we know who that is,
Are those
Mike. We know who that is.
the Frozen people?
Abigail Barlow and Emily Bear became popular via TikTok, actually. So when Bridgerton first
Just like
came
that
out,
national anthem singer.
so I don't know, you probably never came across it, but like when TikTok,
What have they done?
TikTok took
What
over
have they
with-
done?
Not on TikTok.
I'm going. No,
What have they done that's not on TikTok?
But this is the point. This is the point. Is originally on TikTok, they decided to do just one day, kind of do like a song based on Bridgerton, right? And then everyone really liked it, and then they started doing
As
like
we all
concept
do,
songs.
we've
and
all
decided to
done
do,
that.
like
I
a whole
think I know
concept
who you're
album
talking
together,
about.
and it blew
Yeah.
up so much that they started having like concerts, and even like Netflix and stuff like that kind of gave them permission to do certain like performances. Even celebrities came and did these like live performances, and they ended up pissing off Netflix and actually ended up getting sued with them because at some point they tried to actually sell something and they weren't allowed to because Bridgerton's not their IP.
Sure.
And in their minds, it was like the songs were what they were selling, but since the songs were based on Bridgerton and they used like certain music from it, that's when everything went. So like for a while, they kind of had not great publicity and people were like bagging on them and they went back down in the dip. But Emily Bear herself, who is the actual composer, not the writer and singer, has still had like separate success on her own and still has like kept good relations with people. So they were eventually brought on anyways to do other shows. So they this Moana movie that's coming out is actually their first time being able to, as a group, like as two people, actually
nothing.
do something that's
nothing.
This is
outside the Bridgerton.
Moana 2.
No, but even their concept album like blew up,
No.
it charted
No,
and
no.
everything. It was
No.
on in like all over billboards in New York. Like it, you know, they actually have won. I think they won something like some sort of, was it a Grammy? Something like they won something.
Uh,
I forget what it is.
Abigail
It was
Barlow, Emily
something that
Bear.
charted or something. I forget.
Interesting. I mean, like, so popular they broke the internet. I mean, I guess this is all advertising for the thing. They
Sure.
then won the 2022 Grammy Award for
Grammy
Best
Award, there.
Musical Album for their Bridgerton-inspired ballads. Wait, Netflix sued over copyright infringement, and they settled. I don't know, man. It's interesting how many people are getting like shots, which is great. I do think that they should give people shots outside of the like usual creative pipeline of the machine.
Yeah.
But also, I don't think these people are making these decisions based on like. I'm sure these people are talented and they did a good job of writing the things that they write. But also, like,
Really good,
like what ends up happening to a lot of like these TikTok people is like the Hakatua girl has her 50. She's kind of doing all right with her 15 minutes of fame. She's like say fundraising for animal shelters. She's
making sure she does well with it.
She's doing stuff with it, but I think she's in on the joke, right? Like it's like when someone gets on a reality TV show and then they quit their day job and they think, well, this is gonna last forever, and it's like they're still not, like they're not gonna become Hollywood stars.
One of my favorite posts that she posted, she was like, "Thank you guys." Like she thanked everybody. She's like, "Thank you guys so much for being in on this joke with me." Like she goes, "I never thought that me making a joke would just go viral like this." Like she just made a silly joke. And she said so. She's like, "I just made a silly joke," and it's just like but
yeah.
To be fair, so ultimately, the idea of making a Joker 2 that is a musical versus making a Joker 2 that would have been a good movie versus making a Joker 2 that would have been a series of television, a mini series. All of these options are kind of on the table because they don't. I don't understand the financial restrictions that go into all this stuff, but it feels like this is a big money project and they're expecting a big audience for it. But I don't know how many comic book dorks and the kind of people you see on the internet claiming that Spider-Man shouldn't be black are gonna go watch this. You know what I mean? Like the Joker in We Live in a Society types. I don't feel like it's marketed towards them. And
I don't know what's the Venn diagram. What's the Venn diagram of superhero nerds, dark superhero nerds? Because the Joker is not a Spider-Man flick; it's a dark superhero movie. So what's the Venn diagram of dark superhero nerds and musical lovers? I think that's just Stephanie Meyer-Senior.
Yeah, you're just the one lady.
I don't. Yeah,
you're the
I
one
don't.
Right there in the center.
Right.
You're the one like hugging the line. Like it's just the two
Yeah.
circles hug and the two lines are.
Just
There's
the
no.
tiny, looks like a little tiny clip between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
And
if
it's
someone
just
else.
Stephanie.
Yeah, if
Look,
someone else.
here's the thing. I love musicals. I really do. I just don't want the two crossing the streams.
That's true.
That's all.
That's fair.
That's all. That's all I want.
It does make me curious about. I don't know if it's gonna be a full.
I'm curious as to why you're curious.
I don't know. I don't think it's gonna go full Chicago. I just think it's gonna be.
That's what I'm afraid of.
It's gonna be all in their heads.
That's what I'm afraid of.
I don't think it's gonna go full Chicago.
And by the way, Chicago, literally one of my favorite musicals. Like I'm not even like.
You would love it to go full Chicago.
Again, if the theme was anything other than the Joker, which is a sequel to a movie that I really cared for, that's the only difference. Yeah. And there are some examples of movies.
As someone whose partner made sure to really brainwash me into loving Batman the moment we got together, he's like, "This is the one thing."
You have to love Batman.
This is a deal breaker.
Oh yeah, he was like, no, this is a specific storyline. Read, and I was like, fine.
Was it
He's
Mad
always
Love?
make fun of Batman.
Was it Mad Love? It was the Harley story.
No.
Was
it year one?
Harley,
was it Batman year one?
Which Batman was it?
I led up to year one, but it was the Death in the Family.
Oh,
okay, fantastic.
Okay. All right.
Really
okay.
I
like how we both of us
very-
unclenched. Both of us were like, all right.
Was
Did-
a Deadly
have
Family.
you-
I got very invested, and then went into a year one. But I got very invested into the Bad Family, and like literally, I will punch someone for Alfred Pennyworth. Like
Yeah.
Alfred is my
Did
baby.
you ever read the Court of Owls?
What?
The Court of
Owls, yes,
Owls.
and then Court of Owls, and then
That's my
he-
favorite one.
I
That's
jumped
my
onto
favorite
Court of
one.
Owls as well.
Court of Owls.
I think the
so
best.
Death in the Family, Court of Owls, and Year One. I just like it.
But while I
Really
was
tight.
reading those books, you know what I never thought? I never thought, as I was reading those amazing books, I never thought,
should be a
I wonder
musical?
what it would be like as a musical.
listen to
Like, I
What
never
if
thought
they?
that.
Here's the
I
thing.
never thought that, man.
What if
What
they
if,
made?
what if the
Wait, hold
owls
on,
just
hold on.
jazzed hands?
Yeah.
What
What if the
if-
owls were like, hey.
Hey, what if they made the ultimate telling of Mr. Miyagi's origin story, but it was a musical, and you had to sit through
I
a
don't know how the
musical
musical
number
works in the concentration camp.
in
Portion?
the internment camp, in the American
Japanese-
internment camp
yeah,
that we
yeah,
had for the
Germany, yeah.
Japanese.
Yeah.
I don't know, but hey, musicals have been written about everything. Now you have to
And
deal with
cabaret
this
is the whole thing, right?
This is like the monkey's paw, where you make the wish and then it goes, "Grr," and then all of a sudden there's like a huge fucking.
That brings us to Mike and I saw a video
Oh yeah,
that
Yeah,
it was,
I'll find it.
what would your superpower be? You could pick any one superpower.
Hold on, I'll show you the video. This is
Everybody choose a power. Once you
Mhm.
choose a power, the other pod members choose the side effects.
Mine would be the ability to fly.
If you stop flying, you get AIDS.
okay.
Oh my god!
Maybe not that part of it.
So what
Stop
we
flying.
each pick a power, but the other pod members get to choose
The side effect.
the side effect of that
Yeah.
power.
Or like you do we know the monkey's paw story of like you get the wish gets granted, but then there's some
Bad
sort
things,
of like
yeah,
like
Yeah.
not so fast asshole, some Twilight Zone twist.
Yeah.
You know that makes it
Which
like
is
a
why
curse.
which is why I brought up that clip, because I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that just sounds like a lot like. So
Yeah.
Steph, you want to go first?
You
want to go
went from
first?
0 to
Yes.
500 real fast
Yeah,
though.
Yeah,
you want to
yeah.
go first? You want to go to
You
the
want me to
power?
go first? Oh shit!
Sure.
All right. Telepathy.
Mike,
reading
you wanna give this
minds.
one? Reading minds.
Reading minds, but you're also instantly aware of in conjunction with the man with 1,000 kids, just like like every time once you read someone's mind, you will hear them orgasm the next time they come, and you can't turn it off.
Yeah, you
It's
can't
like
shut it off.
tinnitus. There's no turning it
The
off.
thoughts when they orgasm, or is it the actual the verbal component? of
Whatever
orgasm?
happens in somebody's
You're
mind when they're
a
orgasming,
telepath.
they're
They're
hearing it.
picturing,
Yeah.
like what
You're
they're
pick
thinking
whatever
when
they're
orgasm.
picturing, whatever they're thinking, whatever is happening. You know, I don't want to say that you feel it, but you're there. You're present. You're like a dark
Yeah.
passenger in the next time that
Everybody, including your parents, including your children, including everybody, whoever's
So-
mind you read.
you could choose, right? You could choose to read them, but
Okay.
the second you read your mind, you're now cursed to know when they come.
For the next 5
Right, right.
times.
You know what? Yeah, like that's it. That you cannot abuse your power. I would venture to say even like permanently. Like it would be great to know, like, oh, like imagine you reading your partner's mind, like you like David, you'd like read his mind because you want to know about him. But now you know when he comes every time, and you know what he's
Yeah.
thinking about.
And that's
Like,
the thing. I don't know if
hey.
I want to know what he's thinking about, because
Hey.
sometimes I'd be like, "Bitch, it better be me."
That's
But
not
it-
exactly.
but
That's
it's
not
not.
me.
But it's
It's
not.
not.
It's
It's
not.
not.
It's not. You're his wife.
That is
It's
not a scenario we have
not.
been in, sir.
Yeah. And then
It's like,
then you're gonna
who's
you're
this
gonna-
mystery third partner?
And
What
then you're
are we-
gonna
who are we bringing in here?
and then Steph is gonna hear him go crikey, and you're like, God damn it.
He's been doing it mentally this whole time.
2 years ago, I told Dave, I go,
His
you should.
loophole.
I go,
His
when
loophole.
2 years ago, I told Dave, I said, hey, whenever you're with her, next time you're with her, when you arrive, you should yell out crikey. And
Yeah.
he thought it was the fucking funniest thing ever. And she was like,
He's
don't you
holding
dare.
it over my head. Ever
Don't you
since.
dare. Don't you dare. And so every once in a while, I'll be talking to her and I'll see Dave in the background and I'll yell, crikey, crikey, do it. I just want him to do it. Just want him to do the crikey thing.
And to this
Mike-
day, he's like, and I'm like,
What would be
"I
your
will kill
what would be your power, Mike?
I God, this one is a tough one because I there's a couple powers that you could have that are already occur. Like if I said that like the Wolverine ultimate healing factor, I would like live forever, right? So I get to have to watch everybody die. But I want to see what you guys.
I love the eye roll. I love the eye roll. I love the eye roll where you're like, I gotta watch everybody. I love the eye, whatever. Like it's like, but you will still take it. You will still take it. You will still take it. You're like, oh yeah, I'll live everybody. That's fine. Whatever.
If I could choose a power set of some like to copy a hero, it would be I would take Wolverine. I think I would.
Sure.
Heightened senses, super strength, healing
what about when the
factor.
actual like planet gets blown up by the sun? You know,
it just be like, this is ground control to Major Tom as I'm floating through space.
That sounds like
people just find my frozen skeleton.
Steph, do you want to come up with a? Because apparently healing factor, right? We're talking about the healing factor.
Healing factor.
I just want to be Wolverine's powers.
Healing.
All right. Well, every single time you choose to heal, because I'll make it the choice. You choose to heal something, you know that you are harming that part of another person.
That's not that big a problem for me.
I'll take it, man. I'll take that. Yeah,
sure.
We are.
Okay, so when you know, like you're looking visually looking at them.
Also, do not care. Also, no problem.
Fine. Yeah,
also fine.
Wow, guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Also,
you're giving us way too much credit for being good people because we are not. We are not. We're like,
I gave you a seemingly innocent one, but also like imagine you accidentally read like your
kid's mind, like oh, what's wrong?
I wasn't gonna say it,
and then you say kid, and then you're like, I gotta listen to my kid orgasm, whatever.
No.
But I'm not talking about her kid as children, like as little children right now, because they're not gonna. I'm just talking about like
teenagers, the things that teenagers think.
That's what I'm saying. And you're gonna want to read your teenager's mind because you're gonna want to know what's going on with my teenager.
Sometimes I would want to go to bed, so I would just be in the other room going, "Stop!
Shut up!
Stop it!"
And you're telling me that you wouldn't, that you're like, oh, you would have to slide. Like I'm not dying, and it's like, oh, you cut your finger. It's like, yeah, well, someone else around you, their finger gets cut, and it's like, yeah, all right,
yeah, that's fine,
sure,
that's fine.
That
Mike isn't really a superhero. He's not going out there and actually getting decapitated. Like it's not really, like it's not really.
Okay. So
like somebody stubs their toe in the middle of the night for no reason. Like, what happened to my toe? Like, oh, I'm sorry, I stubbed my toe. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
We got it. Yeah. So, like, I'm just never gonna feel pain again. Just everyone around me is all of a sudden like remarkably inconvenienced. It's like, my back hurts, and they're like, Mike, leave me alone.
What if this is what will kill Mike? What if every time you heal, you have an anxiety attack?
Also kind of already happening. So
yeah,
it's not too far from the truth of my
look. Honestly, to me,
wait, so I
just really couldn't come up with anything worse than like the eventual death of everyone around you and then floating in space forever. Like
I already have
you lose half an inch of your dick.
Got plenty to the idea of it. Is that really as simple as you guys can come up with?
Well, I try to attack your emotional. I try to attack your emotional health, and you're like,
and I try to go for your morals, and you're like,
and who gives a fuck? No. So now we got to go with what hurts is your dick. So it's basically like that's the only thing that's left that hurts you.
Look at Yolanda's comments.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Wow. Like the one that says, "Wow."
Yolanda said, "Wow, Dad said he didn't raise you to be that cold."
Oh yeah, Yolanda, why you keep trying to knock down my landmarks?
Pot kettle, yeah. Yolanda, pot kettle.
Yeah. Monopoly Go. She's going at me. She's trying to destroy me in Monopoly Go. Yeah. We talked about this in the last episode. You were on a side.
You know what? Healing factor is a tough one because it is like that would be kind of a nightmare where all of a sudden, not only am I going to outlive everyone I know, but I'm going to speed the process by making them also like sick or something like that. But yeah. This is a good one. You every time you heal, you get the Benjamin Button thing, so you actually lose a year of your life. You actually go younger a year, and eventually I turn into a little baby.
A little baby.
If I abuse it, I turn into a little baby.
Yeah,
that is a tricky one. That is make it a diminishing resource. Ooh.
Yeah,
that I like. I enjoy.
I came up with one. All right.
That
So
was good.
my
Benjamin
superpower.
horror.
Yeah.
That's
I
good.
did
trauma.
Shit.
I did good.
You just broke my brain. Like, oh no, what would be worth healing if I? Oh,
I love how
got...
for Mike, it's like it's not about hurting others. It's about being like, oh, that's an inconvenience. I dislike.
I don't want to be a baby.
Doesn't Ben? He still dies.
Baby? I don't want to be a dumb baby.
But Benjamin Button, he dies, right? Is that
yeah,
not
he dies
because he
goes. Yeah, he goes backwards until he doesn't. Yeah,
until he doesn't exist anymore. So it is like I'm hastening my own demise.
Correct.
In the reverse of my unbirth or whatever you want to call it.
But the thing is that works is like the younger you get, the less problems your body has. So like you can just be like, okay, now wait, I gotta hold.
Yeah.
Hold.
Heal again.
Look, Rookie says every time you heal, you lose a listener. So you could heal twice. And that's all you got. That's all you got. You could just heal twice.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Shout out to Rookie on Instagram.
Shout out to Rookie, man. I do love the idea of
Instagram wasn't down.
the diminishing.
I
do like the idea.
Jason was on there.
Yeah, Jason. I do like
three.
I got 3 chances to heal. But I do like the idea that it is a diminishing resource and that it is like I have to weigh out certain, certain. Yeah. What about you? What about you, Nery?
I would choose time travel. Or time manipulation. I would say time manipulation. Like I could stop time. I could do the Clarissa Explains It All. Like I could do the Zach Morris timeout. I could just freeze.
So you want to manipulate time?
I want to manipulate time. So I want to be able to stop it, walk into a bank, rob it, get out, then unfreeze time, have all this money. Nobody saw me. The cameras didn't see me.
This is my ultimate answer for every time travel thing.
Well, it's not time travel. It's manipulation of time.
Fine. Inertia.
Yeah, because time travel would have been really easy.
Because if you freeze time, you kind of have to freeze space too. So if you freeze, this is the science nerd in me. If you freeze space and time,
well, I don't believe in science.
You don't believe in science? You're talking to me on a. You're looking at me through a camera that's being broadcast to the internet. Science has made all that. So if all of a sudden the Earth stops moving, like there's still physics. Like, are you stopping everything? There's still like the impact of stopping time. So you would have to slow it down to like if you want to, you'd have to slow it down to the point where it wouldn't hurt anybody. So I would imagine that the first or second time you try to do it would be fucking rough.
Right. There's learning. There's growing pains. There's definitely growing pains where you got a learning curve. Mike Valdez says, so you want to be the main character in a 90s sitcom? Mike, you have no idea.
Who does not want this?
Dude,
that is the best.
I'm literally trying to find.
That is my fucking dream. That is my dream. You kidding me? You who doesn't want to date Kelly Kapowski? Are you out of your fucking mind?
He dates all of them.
Yes,
he dates all of them. Yes. He dates Lisa. He dates.
He doesn't date Lisa. He doesn't date Lisa.
They kiss.
That's not dating. You consider that dating?
I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying. Right, he kisses Lisa Turtle.
I don't think did he date? Did he kiss Jesse Spano? Did he kiss her?
That's
Mike Valdez. Mike Valdez, chime in. Did he? Because I know Mike knows way more about 90s shit than he should. Did Zach kiss Jesse Spano?
A kiss and Saved by the Bell.
No, he says a kiss is sex and Saved by the Bell. I guess
that is true.
That's true.
Yeah,
he did. Mike Valdez says he did kiss Jesse Spano.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So the
he earned it though. He got her off of speed.
He did. She was so excited, and then she was so scared. So you want to be able to manipulate time. I think that at a certain point you would have to it would have to start small, and you have to work on it like a muscle.
All right, it doesn't. What's the fucking the bad part? What's the Yeah. I like the way you're explaining to me my power. No, we didn't do that with any of your powers. We didn't do any of that with your powers. Nobody's but that. Oh well, you want to do the healing factor? What's going to happen is you accelerated cells in your body. I
should explain that if you don't do it right, you could send every building and every car shifting over as the earth hits the brakes too quickly, or whatever it is. Like if you hit the brakes too quickly, we all smash up against the you could just, you know, that you could kill everything, you know, that you could destroy everything around you.
I'm all right with that. It's fine.
You're all right with smashing
things. I'll try it in the field.
I was just gonna say that, like, for the amount of time that you have paused, your biological, like, your body's actually going in fast forward for the balance.
Oh, you age for every second that you freeze.
Yeah.
You age double.
Every second. Oof.
Yeah, you're freezing time. You would still continue aging, but because you're also using a lot of energy, you would be aging twice as fast.
Yes.
So every time you use your power, you burn through another, you know, however much amount of time. Eventually, it's like Click. It's like that movie Click that was unnecessarily sad at the end.
It was so good. Oh my god.
Egregiously super depressing at the end, where he's like, "Can I live
What
my
was
life
the
again?"
ending again?
His dad died.
Yeah.
His dad died. He missed the death of his dad. He was a jerk to his dad the last time about the coin. It was Henry Winkler out of all things. Oh, brutal.
Yeah. Oh god,
Brutal.
Henry Winkler. Oh, what's the other one? Oh my god, the About Time or whatever that one. That one always got
the Justin Timberlake one?
No, not About Time. Then it's In Time. Oh fuck. It's a romance. It seems like it's supposed to be a romance, but in the end,
Are you talking about the astronaut's wife? You talking about the astronaut's wife?
No, that one's creepy. That's Time Traveler's wife.
What do you mean that? What do you mean that's creepy? That was great. No, there's actually an astronaut's wife one, which is Johnny Depp. But yes, I did mean I did mean the Time Traveler's wife. You're right. I did mean that. That's not creepy. I love that movie. That movie's not creepy at all.
He groomed her.
He did not groom her. Did not groom her.
He literally showed up as an adult man when she was a child.
Because he went back to visit the wife that he already knew. But he was already the wife she was already the wife in his time. And so when he got the power, he went back to see her one last time.
She had no choice.
What do you mean she had no choice? That's crazy.
Known that he was going to be the person.
So you're saying that just because somebody
into the person he would have left anyway.
You're saying that because somebody tells you we're gonna get married in 30 years, you're gonna you have no choice? Free will is gone?
I'm saying he didn't tell her the one time. He showed up a few times.
Okay. Again, free will is gone. This is
No. Grooming's a thing.
No, grooming is a thing. He did not groom her. I'm sorry, they were already married.
If you really look at just the facts, if you look at just the macro image of the story, and you look at it from just her perspective, instead
you're gonna step out real. Yeah, let's not defend.
I'm just saying, look at the story again from her perspective, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, that's a bit odd." Okay.
Dude, my wife did the same thing. Wait. My wife did the same thing when I showed her Overboard for the first time. Overboard.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
and I'm like, you can't fucking ruin Overboard for me. Are you kidding me? She was like,
watch me.
She was in a coma, and he fucking lied to her, telling her that was that he was her husband, and then she had to take care of his fucking kids. I'm like, but she threw his tools overboard. You don't get it? What the fuck don't you get?
These are equally
you can't ruin the movie like that. That's crazy.
Defending shit. Good lord.
Yes.
Well, it's kind of like how when you watch while you were sleeping, you're like, ooh.
Yeah.
Weird. Weird.
There's a lot of these movies that
don't ruin these things, Steph. Jesus.
There's a lot of those, again, like the Zach Morris's trash, the revelation in hindsight where you're like, oh, this is like the Mrs. Doubtfire. My favorite one is now with Twisters coming out. The original one
came out. Twisters,
the original one, Bill Paxton's character is engaged, I think, to that other woman. I forget her name.
The doctor.
And then the doctor, and then all of a sudden, like, that lady did nothing wrong the whole movie, and they make her out to be some sort of like bad lady. Like
I don't think they made her out to be a bad. I saw it recently. I rewatched it recently. I was showing it to my kids. I don't think they made her out to be a bad. They just made her out to be very non-compatible with him. Right. She was a stiff, and she was like very like a nerdy by the book, and he was an adventurer. He literally like
chasing tornadoes.
So I know what you're saying, but I like when they do that. I like when they do that. I don't like when movies are like, this guy's a bad guy and you deserve to be with. I'm like, maybe just like in just like in You've Got Mail, maybe they're just not compatible. Maybe you just shouldn't be. They're not a bad person.
You've Got Mail was another one where it's like, wait, he's been gaslighting her this whole fucking time into believing that he is not this. Like he's pretending to be this other person. Catfishing. That's more
catfishing, not gaslighting. He didn't gaslight her, but he did catfish her. You did. Yeah.
Does catfishing imply a little gaslighting?
No, because gaslighting says you're crazy. Gaslighting says you're crazy. You're wrong for thinking these things.
That's fair.
That's what gaslighting does.
So he's just straight up lying. He's just straight up a liar.
Yeah, just he's a guy
manipulating, but
he's manipulating.
Just
like
different flavor.
Another one of those that's getting a lot of traction nowadays is the Mrs. Doubtfire one, where all of they make Sally Field out to be this bad lady.
Yes,
and meanwhile, she was like right the whole time.
Oh my god, I watched that movie like 6 months ago, and I was like, oh no, he was an asshole. Like this guy, he needs to get divorced. Like this is he had livestock in the fucking apartment. Like what are you doing?
Yeah.
In San Francisco, the value alone.
In a birthday party that she did not approve or allow, and he was like, "Oh, we were gonna clean this up before you got home." He's like, "Sir, they get
so you're gonna teach the kids to lie to me?"
But they get out of school at 3:00. She gets out of work at 5, presumably. What? How long did you think this party was gonna last?
Yeah, there's a lot of
this was not well thought out.
Yeah,
you man child.
The irony, of course, being is that when you're a kid, you're like, get her, Mrs. Doubtfire. And when like she throws the fruit, or Mrs. Doubtfire throws it was a run by fruiting.
Run by fruiting is one of my favorite lines. One of my favorite lines. He's a run by fruiting.
But Pierce Brosnan did not deserve any hate. He was a good dude.
And my second favorite line in that movie is the drink killed him. He's like, oh, he was an alcoholic. He's like, no, he got ran over by a beer truck.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fucking great. Mike Valdez says the babysitter in Jurassic World got demolished for no fucking reason at all. I think that's so true.
Yes. There was no other story component to it. And the weird thing was, I was the entire time.
Didn't she get ripped apart?
I was expecting her to be a bigger character.
Yeah.
She was planning her wedding, and she got fucking ripped apart.
Like when you get like a squeaky animal for like a dog, and they just like whip it around. Like it was just that.
I love this one.
The thing is, I watched the show Merlin, and she was a main character in that show. I really thought she was going to be a bigger character when she was introduced. I'm like sitting there, and I'm like.
But I think that's what they were going for. Like nobody's safe, right? They're going for that mystique of like nobody's safe. Everybody can get it. You know, Samuel L. Jackson in the Shark movie. You know, nobody's safe. Everybody can get it. Type of deal. Like
if they were trying to do like a Drew Barrymore and Scream thing, 100%. But like they didn't really show her enough for that. Like it was weird. It was just. I just don't know why.
Steven Seagal in that movie. What's that movie called? What was that movie? With Kurt Russell. Steven Seagal is in that movie for like 12 minutes.
Decision. Yes,
Executive decision.
They had to
Steven Seagal was on the poster. Steven Seagal was on the poster, and he got killed in 12 minutes of that movie.
The first scene of that movie.
He probably had. I counted. There was one time where I watched the movie, and
that what happened to Psycho?
I counted that. I counted the screen time that he had, and he was like. He got killed within like the first 18-20 minutes of the movie, and screen time, he had like 4.5 minutes of screen. It was fucking hilarious to me. Mike Valdez says this. I don't agree with Mike because I believe this woman was evil, right? Mike Valdez says, Skyler in Breaking Bad is such a bitch. And then in all caps, her husband makes meth.
It's literally
But here's the thing. I'm not saying that her husband was a good guy because he wasn't, because he made meth, but also that doesn't mean she's not a bitch, Mike. She's also a bitch. Like those two things can be true.
Yeah, but she's valid in being a bitch.
No, but she was a bitch before. She was a bitch before she knew about his meth making.
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack.
And what's wrong with being? How about you be a ride or die, bro? My husband makes meth. Are you good at it? Oh, you're the fucking best that's ever existed. I'm with you. Let's ride or die. Like that's come on, bro.
The
genuinely thought like that, and I'm just like,
hear me?
Be my Hillary.
Absolutely.
I need you to be my Hillary. Too soon.
It's that whole thing of every "Am I the asshole" that we read, where there's like that balance of like, yeah, but you know what I mean? Like it's like, am I the asshole? because my wife is a stupid bitch and blah blah blah, and then she keeps interfering in my meth making, and I'm just trying to protect her and blah blah blah. It's like whoa, go back one sentence. Go back one.
What did you
sentence.
mention?
What do you mean?
We needed the money for our kid because he had cancer, and after that, I just really loved it. I was
so good at it.
I really loved the power. I was really good at being the power, like having that power. And I'm like,
I like I'm the one who knocks, and I like the one. I like being the one.
I like knocking. I like being the one who knocks. That's ridiculous.
Well, maybe that's your journey, and you take that path.
We had a comment on earlier on Instagram that said, "What's up with that with Marvel?" And Marvel's going through a lot of changes. They just went through their whole con thing right now, so they let out a lot of news. Avengers 5 and 6, the Russo brothers are in talks to return to direct Avengers 5 and 6.
Man, they're really trying to resuscitate things. They're like,
baby,
let's
go back to the glory days. Let's go back. That's what I heard when I read that article. I just heard, baby, come back.
Yeah,
come back to me.
It's a balance. So like, there's a lot of work to do. I wish that they would make decisions, because I feel like social media has made it like a problem to just exist in this space of like comic books and stuff like that. Because like I was just talking about the Acolyte. The Acolyte has gotten a lot of hate, and then when you ask them, it's like, what do you like? It's just that you could just loudly go, "This sucks," and say some backward ass shit, and then plug your ears and go blah 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 blah, blah, and then nobody hears a real thing. Or the other side is you don't like it because of diversity and this and it's identity politics, and then they go like this, they plug their ears and they go blah 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 blah. So if you have a genuine complaint about like, well, the story structure is a little weird and I wish they would have done this, people are like, well, which side are you on? You know, which stance are you going to take? It's like, oh, I just watched it and enjoyed it, but I had a slight critique, and they're like, which, get the fuck, you can't be in the middle. You have to be in one of the camps.
That's how I felt about She-Hulk. I was like, it was fine.
It was fine.
It wasn't great, but it wasn't the worst thing on earth. It wasn't like the worst. I didn't regret watching it. It wasn't like I was watching it going like, this is crazy. This is awful.
Tepid is a thing for a reason. Like sometimes you just watch things and you're like, that exists in the world.
To be fair, if your expectations were high, that tepid might be even a bigger disappointment, right?
Yeah.
There are times.
Sure, yeah.
I've said this before about movies where like there are times where being mid is almost worse than being bad, because I almost rather directors and filmmakers swing big, and if they miss big, at least they're swinging big. But if I feel like you're not swinging hard enough and you're still just coming up kind of like, man, like that's almost worse. But I get what you're saying.
I feel like that's what's going on with Marvel, where that guy Ike Perlmutter, the guy who was like the bad guy, but businessman during Phase 2 that didn't want to have, he's like, nobody wants a Black Panther movie, and then it's like the best because he's racist, and then nobody wants a Black Widow movie because he's sexist, and then all these things happen that.
Oh, he literally said that. He literally said, little girls are not gonna buy action figures.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit, right? There's even more. There's like a documentary or book, I can't remember, but it's like a behind the scenes thing that someone was referencing, and just some of the quotes that they put, I was like, this guy's a fucking asshole. He is officially out of all of his board positions. He's no longer affiliated with Disney. He even sold his big chunk of his shares in Disney. Like he's just no longer financially involved, and like everyone's just like, well, good, bye, and then now,
although it would be really interesting just to keep using him as this like soundboard of like, throw an idea, whatever he says, opposite,
but he has financial control over a lot of shit because of how much.
But here's the problem with this, right? So he's no longer with Disney, with Marvel. The problem is that he hasn't been there for like the last 5 years, right? This guy, maybe even longer.
Money things, and he controls. He had like a board seat, and he still had some influence. And a lot of people believe that. Yeah, a lot of people believe that he was so the shareholder focus that was the previous. That remember, what's his name had to come back. The CEO, Bob Iger. They were like, he quit, and he's like, I'm going to retire with my millions and blah blah blah. And then everyone was like, the new guy came in and kind of forced all of these like the same reason Warner Brothers canceled the Batgirl movie. Like they're just like, how do I make the most money out of these people possible?
Sure.
And then the quality of the product suffered, of course. Ask Boeing; they're planes fell from the sky.
Well, that's what I'm saying about this guy. Like, I'm like, so he hasn't held a position, right, a meaningful position in Marvel for years, and it's weird because now that their product has clearly suffered. Like the quality of product has clearly suffered. So it's weird to be like, finally, that guy's out. Let's put out these mediocre movies that do okay but aren't the greatest, and you're like, oh, well, this is not a good sign.
And then let's crank out for a year, and then you're like, everyone's just like, Jesus, we didn't give us a chance to miss you, and not immediately be disappointed by these were so good, and you're cranking them out now, and and then COVID hits and all these other things. So it's like, hey, regroup. You're allowed to regroup before you put out the next thing if it's going to make it shitty. So that was like a big thing that's going on now, and with them having to rewrite all of Kang stuff because Jonathan Majors got fired. That's a whole other process of like, who was able to put all the pieces together the first time?
I didn't understand why they just didn't recast him.
That's a whole other argument.
No,
man.
but they just recasted this guy. Harrison Ford is in the
because he died.
next,
William Hurt
died. William Hurt died. William Hurt died as Colonel Ross. William Hurt died. And then they just recast it, and they put Harrison Ford in that role in the new Captain America. What's his name?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they just put him in there, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then they just put him in there, and then nobody batted an eyelash. And I'm just like, but why couldn't you do that with like Kang? And why couldn't you do that? And the whole thing with Kang is it's multi-dimensional. He doesn't have to look exactly the same.
They are going to recast him, and they are going to do something different with it. They can't do what they were going to do, where they had a billion Jonathan Majors in the end credit scene.
But also, if you're gonna have an actor play a villain, how about a real life villain?
How about a real
this guy's like his guy's like.
I don't think they were trying to go method with it. Like,
I'm like, like, why didn't you fire Jonathan Majors? And like, because he's the biggest asshole piece of shit that we think would actually do this in real life. So
they should have fired Evangeline Lilly, in my opinion. She's probably responsible for actual deaths.
But she quit. She retired from acting. She
did?
Yeah, she announced
Evangeline Lilly Wasp.
Yep.
You threw out a sentence, and now what?
No. This is like the ex-girlfriend thing. We're this is ex-girlfriend thing. We're just gonna move on. We're just gonna move on. We're just gonna.
Yeah.
This is the movie we want. We want this. I want to hear about this.
Why are we talking about any of this other bullshit?
She's an anti-vaxxer and was very public about not wearing masks and whatever.
Anti-mask, anti-COVID, anti-vax, she was probably one of these hippy dippy 5G microwave tower people.
Same thing with the lady who ended up becoming Black Panther. Which is a role you could have recasted. You should have recasted that role.
I still, so there's a whole lot to unpack there. That's a whole argument that they chose what they chose because also the emotional component of the real person, the actor, not their character in the story.
Correct.
They combined those two things so much that they could not separate those two, and that was their problem. That was a big problem. In that movie, Black Panther 2 was again one of those movies that I had huge expectations for.
I love that movie though.
It's mid to me.
I love that movie, but it has asterisks all over the place. And
100%.
One of those, but come on, Namor, come on.
But that's the whole point, is that there is an element of it that is a genuine complaint, where I don't think Letitia Wright as an actress was strong. They should have made Angela Bassett fucking Black Panther.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
so here's the thing. I said this during when I did this when we reviewed.
She's going to be another character.
I did this when we reviewed Black Panther 2, and I said this, and I feel like a dick saying it, but this is how I believe. This is my truth. Visually, the actress, I forget her name, the one who
Letitia
played,
Wright.
She the one that got Black Panther. She the one who became Black Panther. She's just physically so small.
Yeah.
That visually, I'm just like, I don't believe it. Like, it throws me the fuck out. And it's not because she's a woman. It's not because of her gender. It's just that visually she's so small that I'm just like,
If you watch her in Infinity War, when she has the gauntlets on, they're like dangling around her wrists. Like, I get it. It's supernatural and it's such a dumb thing, but it's one of those things. my
takes me
opinion is that there's elements of that movie, again, during the whole make as many references to other projects so that they are all unable to tie. Why is Ironheart in that movie? Why is why
again? Can I just say, for years I was just called out for being a DC fanboy. That was the quote. Whenever I brought up the fact that when everybody was like just jerking the Marvel fucking and this did that reference, and then I'm like, I don't need everything to connect. And I was mocked and made fun of by my fellow geeks. Like, what are you talking about? It's super cool that everything is connected. I'm like, I don't want to have to do fucking research. And I don't want to have to like watch every time a Marvel movie comes out. I got to go watch every single Marvel movie that came out before it. Now we're up to like 18. We're up to 23 movies. So like, what is it? Like I remember saying that when it was like 15 movies. I was like, I don't need everything to connect. And then people got, and I would get mad. Oh, you're just a DC fanboy. I'm like, okay, bro. But now it got to the point where the web got so fucking convoluted. That now everybody's like, hey, now everybody's on the, we don't need everything to connect, guys. I'm like,
well, it is also, if they would have handled it better, you would not have had
the whole point. Is kind
you
of
guys
like,
not hear me?
Yeah, we could hear
if they would have not handled it better, if they would have handled the aspect of these movies from a non-financial decision, where like, hey, we're gonna do a streaming platform TV series every 6 months, and then 3 major movies a year, and they all have to connect and they all have to reference each other and all this stuff, and they would have just made the stories be as good as they can be. There would have been like, why are the Midnight Angels in Black Panther 2? Why they don't add anything? They're just like, and then in the future, there's going to be this thing afterwards. Man, originally, like every time, it almost got to the trope where at the end of every Marvel movie, they're like, oh, all of a sudden there's like the post-credit scenes. It cuts to another guy, and then someone's like, hi, I'm Bingle Bangle from the Star Nebula, and then it's like, oh shit, that's Bingle Bangle, and then someone will turn and be like, you don't know Bingle Bangle? Like, motherfucker, you don't know who you Googled that shit. You just Googled it because nobody knows who Bingle Bangle is. Nobody knows who Star Fox is. Harry Styles' character at the end of the Eternals. Who the fuck knows that?
Can we just talk about that? There's still a huge Eternal in the middle of the ocean in the MCU.
It gets referenced in the new Captain America. This is a perfect example of movies that should have been TV series. It's in the trailer. Movies that should have been series. Secret Invasion, no way should that have been a series. That should have been one movie. Marvels should have been a fucking TV series with multiple episodes.
That would be fun. I actually like them together.
They crammed too much story. There's 3 whole main characters in that movie, and we got to learn all of their shit. What's been happening since the last movie? It's too much.
Well, the TV show, the Miss Marvel TV show was also a thing.
But there was so much in the actual Marvel.
I never saw it. I didn't see it. I didn't see it, by the way.
It's really good.
A comic book fan, somebody who was obsessed. We went to all of the fucking Marvel movies. They lost you.
They did.
The perfect example. They lost you.
They really did.
And
again, I said this one time, and they were like, "Because you're a DC guy." I'm like, "No, they just lost me.
It's because you hate women. It's because you hate women.
Not exclusively." So
just amongst others.
Yes, amongst other things. But they just you know what's funny? You want to laugh? I put on the Miss Marvel show for my daughter, who at that time was 10, 11 years old, which is I mean, that's the demo. Yeah. And we got to like 3 episodes, and I go, you want to watch the next episode? And my daughter, 11, 10 years old, turns to me and goes, I'm not really into it.
I like
it. And that TV show was made for her. The TV show was made for her. It was literally like that the texting and the LOLs on the screen and all, like, it's made for a fucking 10, 11-year-old. Yeah. It's made for a preteen. And my daughter was like, I'm not really into it. I'm like, okay. And she likes other superhero shit.
Did you show her? You should show. I mean, maybe show her the Eternals, and then if that interests her again. But
Eternals is a little bit complex for an 11, 12-year-old. I think it's a little bit complex.
Yeah,
I don't know if I would say that.
Not really.
I'm not saying complex like she won't get it. I'm saying complex like hold her attention. That's all I mean. It's just like I need her.
Again, it's a lot of information crammed into a short amount of time.
She's very much me. She's very much ADD, but a 12-year-old version of it. So I need something
even worse.
Like, this is it. This is it. This is it. Not like my daughter does this thing where she just asks questions from the beginning of the movie, and I finally had to turn to her the other day and be like, I'm not answering a fucking question, a single one.
Yeah.
You're gonna sit there and watch the movie because every question you ask gets answered within 15 minutes. So shut the fuck up.
There's
and
this
watch the
thing
movie.
called media literacy, and I
Yeah,
want you to
yeah.
learn it.
Yeah,
I want you
it's
to
just-
learn. Oh my God, media literacy. I wish we could all
That's exactly
enjoy
what I said to
media
her.
literacy.
Media literacy. That's exactly what I said. I use that.
Well,
term. I use
so
it.
so here's where we're at. Let's wrap.
I
all
totally
things
knew about. I totally knew about that term before you guys talked about it. now.
We're all in on the joke.
Let's wrap. We're gonna close
all
out.
Smart. We're all smart.
Speaking of media literacy, we're gonna close out the show with a hope that this new Deadpool Wolverine movie is gonna be good. I would like to do a spoiler special or something as soon if you watch it as soon as we can. and
Watching
we
it
can
tomorrow.
see it.
I can't watch it this week.
Okay, well, whenever we
on my
can,
cruise
we'll
ship.
do our episode of it.
They literally booked an extra daycare session for our daughter just so both kids could be in daycare, and like we're spending
Yeah.
the day just being like, bye.
I see.
Go watch
I get to imagine Dave talking to the teachers and be like, "You don't call unless they're fucking dying.
Yeah,
don't you
do
fucking
not.
call me." And I'm like, "Oh, Jesus." The teachers are like, "Oh, they must be doing something important." Yes.
Yeah.
Deadpool,
Yep, it
Deadpool
is.
Wolverine.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. We are live right
Oh,
now.
we're not
on
gonna do
Tik-
old school picks. Old school picks.
Oh,
we gotta
okay.
wrap up. We gotta
well,
go.
I mean, like
Because last
Jimmy-
week it was Teen Witch. Last week was Teen Witch.
Last week was Teen Witch. Yes, you're right. Hold on.
What do I have?
Take that. Take
If we
that.
don't have anything prepared, let's take that. Top that.
Top that. That's what it was. I'm
That's
sorry.
I'm king, and you
God,
know it. I got you had Harlem Nights. Mine was Teen Witch. Your wife has not texted my wife about bonding over Teen Witch. We gotta arrange this sort of gathering because I do not want to hear any more about Teen fucking Witch. I'm serious. I've had enough of top that. I've had enough of the bro, there's a song, the I Like Boys song from the Locker Room. God, so movie so terrible, so bad. And then you had Harlem Nights. What Steph, what's your old school pick? What's your go-to?
Actually, I think I mentioned it. Would this count as old school already? Like 2013? I guess maybe not. Huh? I guess to some listeners, right? I kind of want to watch. I kind of want to rewatch About Time again.
Okay, I love that movie. I own it. It's in a family share, Mike. About Time.
Yeah, it is one of those movies that you go in thinking is going to be the sweet little rom-com, and then all of a sudden, like you're like, feelings, why?
Oh, Rachel.
I mean, it is still a rom com.
It is still rom.
It's funny.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it
There's
has its moments.
it is
Yeah.
funny.
What about you, Nery?
It's
What do
funny
you
in
got?
the way that British comedy is funny.
What do you got, Nery?
So I mean, that's not a good recommendation. That's not a good sell. You
To me, I enjoy British comedy. I
did
enjoy
not
sitting there
sell
being
that
like,
very well.
It's British comedy funny.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go with 1989 because I'm sticking with my 1989 platform. 1989's Uncle Buck.
Ooh, that's a great old school pick.
John Candy.
John Candy flipping a giant pancake with Macaulay Culkin. That's a great old school pick because enough people will have forgotten about it. And anytime you get to show somebody John Candy, it's always like never instant hit. Like never miss with John Candy movies.
He's so good.
He's so good. Mine is actually going to be in the new millennium as well. It's going to be a 2000s pick, but it's one that I saw recently and I remember loving it, and I'm going to watch it again. The Terminal, the Tom Hanks movie. The Terminal. When he's like Krokozhia. He's stuck in the airport because he has no country. There's a lot of good stuff. I remember I loving that movie. And then he goes to he's trying to get into New York, and just Stanley Tucci, the Tucci, plays a bad guy.
Are you checking to see if you have a dent?
Stop messing with your dent.
Yeah. I was just like, do I have a dent? Like, I don't know.
Tune in next week when we learn, does Nery have a dent? Dent, Arthur Dent.
This and more.
Harvey Dent. Lots of dents. Thank you everybody for watching. Yolanda's got an old school
we
pick.
have a suggestion in the comments.
We do have an old school pick in the comments.
Young
Frankenstein. So many good.
I've never seen that movie.
It's worth watching, man.
I've never seen Young Frankenstein. I've never seen Bram Stoker's Dracula, which is another one that I feel like I'm missing out on.
Yeah, that's a good one. But
very different.
Very different.
Yeah.
Go watch Dracula Dead and loving it.
Never seen that one either.
Watch the double feature.
I know.
Thank you everybody for watching.
These are honorable mention top ones.
Thank you everybody.
Sorry.
Yep. Okay. All right.
Lag. Sorry.
Thank you for watching, everybody. We got to the end. We did it. Stay tuned for the future Deadpool Wolverine episode forthcoming. Follow us at WUBro Pod on all platforms. Follow me at Mike Mercadal. Stephanie Meyer-Senior, is anything you'd like to promote?
My mental health.
Let's promote only Steph's though. Don't you dare.
But that's what goes. It plays into what Mike's other podcast with Will Watkins.
Yes, if you want to check out Zeros on Heroes, we're doing Collateral Benefit, which every week I talk to Will Watkins, who is a fitness friend, but it's turned into a holistic kind of approach to health, not hippy dippy crystals, but as a complete approach to health, where you're how are we improving our mind?
I love the fact it's a communal about mental health and health, not bullshit. We're talking about shit that works. Like, oh my god, Jesus.
We have a fan actually.
Science-based.
Yolanda says great podcast. Well, no, because here's the point of it is to
lots of crystals.
Not the podcast can be hippy dippy crystals. The word holistic, I'm saying, is not in that term. Don't immediately assume hippy dippy crystals. We're taking a full body approach. So with mind, body, and how
holistic is actually supposed to mean, yes.
Yeah, what it's supposed to mean. Where we're
mind, body, and community without fucking crystals.
None of that hippie shit.
Hey, you know what? If you got high blood pressure because you eat too much salt, guess what? Crystals are in fact impacting your life. Crystals have power but not in the way that you're thinking.
In your arteries.
Do you have a quartz powered timepiece? Yeah, we all do. They're in every electronic device since the 80s. Quartz is a crystal that runs our life and keeps time if you put electricity through it.
So you could buy my album Live in Miami. You could buy my album Live in Miami, and I have a show called. Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I apologize.
Yeah,
you were going off on the tangent of fucking crystal. So crystal. I just all right.
Join us on Zeros on Heroes for more of that bullshit. At Collateral Benefit, we do it Sundays. Will and I would be doing it if nobody watched. It's just for our own mental health, but it's also great to hear what everybody else is doing to improve their lives. Email us at zerosonheroes@gmail.com, and you can if there's something you're doing that is improving your life, share with the people, and that will be something that we can talk about on the show and help improve their lives.
If somebody could please email zerosonhero@gmail.com and say crystals are improving my life. Yeah. Just a bunch of crystals. My album Live in Miami is on sale. It's available wherever you get your music. Make sure you guys get that. Do me a favor, cop that. If you do buy it, send me a screenshot so I can share it with people, because I love sharing it. And I'm posting a new video every week of my videos of the audio version of it. So thank you guys for checking us out. Mike, anything else you want to say?
Just the dismount, which will be coming forth soon from your mouth.
That's how winning is done.
Yay! He said it.